In view of one or two comments in the media about the scope, very misleading comments in the media about the scope of this event, this celebration. As I said during the Vision of the Child, and it's interesting that one of the, I can't call it newspaper commentaries, shall we say paid advertisement, referring to something which I said at that meeting, but very cleverly ignoring other far more interesting, more useful kind of bits of information there. For me, it's a very dangerous trend because people use that kind of distortion to create a mood of objection, a negative mood towards an event like this. I'm referring, for instance, to the comment in that paid advert, which said something like, a whole year's celebration, while people are starving. Nobody at any time has said this is going to be a year-long celebration. I refer to this advert, this commentary, specifically because at that same event, I corrected that misconception. In fact, I think the words I used were, if Governor Ambode wanted to celebrate a whole year round, I'll carry a placard and ask for him to be impeached. That should have been more than sufficient to indicate the nature of this festival. And yet, people take the trouble to try and just create public disaffection. You know, these people, these sudden people with sudden interest in the welfare of the workers, they want to teach me, or to teach us here about the welfare of the workers. They want to teach us, including myself, who called for an economic summit involving everybody. They want to tell me that I don't know that the economy is in a parlous condition. These very intelligent, very informative, shunch of the show. It's very tendentious when people do that kind of thing. It's dishonest, and I think it's very unfair to those who, despite difficulties, want to create something worthwhile for the public. At no time has there been any statement by anybody that this committee is going to create an event every day of the year. You can start something and then leapfrog to the end. You can say, that's it, we're starting here, this is where we're headed, and that is where we're going, with nothing in between. However, we are also trying to create things in between. And yet, when some of the members of the committee, when they move among people, they get questions. And not always questions, sort of insinuations that there's a pot of gold available to celebrate all year round, and that is what they're expecting. I think let's be practical and let's learn to wait until events are actually proposed, are advertised, and brought before the public. I have here, we have there's no question at all, we have a master plan, and there's a budget, but a budget is meaningless until it is assented to, until it's accepted. If you don't believe it, go and ask the House of Assembly and the Senate and the President. So anything can be projected, and we have done our projections, and we've said to the government, tell us what you can do out of this. So please, let the committee do its work, and don't keep pouncing on them and saying, where's the return for our money? What money? They haven't smelt money yet. In fact, one of their first jobs, which they've embarked upon, is to try and raise funds for this marvelous, ambitious master plan. I can guarantee you, sitting here, that not one member of the committee has smelt 1 Naira of the fund which is expected. Only what has been spent so far, just to inaugurate it, that's the only money which has been supplied. And so everybody is waiting, and if you're not careful, we will rob you before you leave this hall. So we can continue. That's how desperate we are. Desperate to start work. The first of the Ibile months, they presented a marvelous program. When I saw it, I laughed. I said, where do they think they are getting the money from? But they have worked, they have presented the program. I met the representative from Badagry yesterday, and he said to me, we are ready, we are prepared, we are waiting for you, we are ready. I said, good, keep being ready. That's the way these things happen. So don't place expectations where nothing yet has been provided for those expectations to be fulfilled. I repeat, the funds are not yet in. And one of the hardest working subcommittees, in fact, will be the fundraising committee. I want to add also this detail in the plan to involve as many people as possible. We've been receiving, naturally, bombardment, a general bombardment. Writers, musicians, exhibition expositors, etc., etc. We receive all those all the time, and they're all considered. But you shouldn't worry if, for instance, something which has been, if you like, accepted under one canopy is not fulfilled. It doesn't mean that it's abandoned. I'll explain. Suppose somebody is from Ikeja. He has a cultural event. He would like the animators in Ikeja to present as part of their divisional event. If they cannot accommodate it, it doesn't mean thereby that it is abandoned. That proposition, that proposal can still find space under, for example, the thematic months. Let's say under music, under a lecture, or under whatever. So don't think that they are necessarily abandoned. It's possible that they can be fitted under other thematic canopies of the entire festival. We plan, for instance, and this is where technology comes in, which I have mentioned before. If we receive, for instance, let's say Ologbo, let's say there's a choir there, a school choir, and our scouts go there, they like it. We can invite them to come and perform under the umbrella of this festival without their leaving their schools, because we'll send one of those mobile billboards, as they're called, to film them, to cover them while they are performing, and that performance will be simulcast, as we did for the commencing programs, simulcast where those tents are, Ekpe, Ikorodu, Central, Ikeja, etc., etc. We experimented with it at the very beginning, and it was a huge success in terms of reaching people, passers-by, and those who saw this and then stopped to actually watch what's going on. We intend to deploy technology as much as possible. But please, before you complain that the technology didn't reach one corner or the other, go and find out what it costs just to broadcast one event and ensure that they reach all the Ibile divisions. But that's what we're aiming for.